The policy being pursued by the government is a major miscalculation and catastrophe made by people who have never gone to war and made by people who have no knowledge of the Middle East or what's happening to Palestinians and Arabs. That's the side of the story that needs to be told, and that's why I'm marching. I want to try to prevent this war. That 2/3 of Americans do not want to go to war without sanctions from the United UN and Security Council. That's a positive sign. This is an unpopular position taken by the President and by Tony Blair, and it's doomed to horrible failure, sending young boys and girls in the armed forces to die for what? I don't know.
We don't want to see this happen again. We cannot occupy a foreign country for another 40 or 50 or 60 years. I mean, they booted us out of Vietnam, and that's liable to be what happens if we take over Iraq. The goals of the administration are very suspect. We don't have a really solid reason for being there. It is not Saddam Hussein who bombed the buildings and crashed the planes into the buildings. We aren't going after Saudi Arabia. We're not going after Pakistan. Those are the seats of hostility and anger. We're going after somebody that George's dad couldn't get out of power in '91, and so by gosh, George Jr. is going to try his hand. So we've got to bring our soldiers home. We've got to stand down. This is what's patriotic. It's what's right for humanity, not for politics, but humanity.
What do you want now? What do you want? Peace.
Because I think it's unjust, and I'm a Catholic, and Catholics are not on board until they prove the case. The Pope says it's an unjust war and it'll be against civilization if they start it.
I'm here because I don't believe in going in and killing people. I think that we need to, we are a powerful nation and we can surround them. We don't have to kill them. Children, women, men, and ruin the earth. They say, well, they'll grow something over there. If you keep ruining the earth, how are you going to grow anything?
I'm opposed to Americans going into Iraq right now because there hasn't been enough proof, as far as I'm concerned. The soldiers, because I was a soldier, a Vietnam vet, soldiers are waiting to do something. They want to go in and get it done with or whatever. But I'm against this particular war. America cannot push our ways of life down other people's throats. Forever, you know. We have to realize that other people have the right to live their way of life.
We're all caught with terrible angst over what happened in 9/11, but this isn't a solution for that. Terrorism is not embodied in a single person. Terrorism is something you cause to happen, and this act of going to war with Iraq will cause more terrorism in the future than we can imagine. And it's not because I'm afraid, it's because I'm educated, and I know that that's what happens in the long run. Generations of hate from Arab states, and we can't afford that.
That this is not the time for us to be engaging in pre-emptive war. Exactly. We're for pre-emptive peace.
Absolutely.
We're both from Jamestown. We've been employed in Jamestown and have a very strong sense of community. My husband's on the city council, and I'm hoping that he will sign a resolution with the council.
We also need to let the young people know that they can be affected by this. And we'd like to send a clear message that there are those of us who were affected with other wars, with Vietnam, and we need to let them know that they need to make a stand on this before it's too late.
I think the whole aspect of it, there's so many aspects, with the genocide, with invading another culture, and all the money that it's going to cost to rebuild that culture afterwards. There's just so many parts of it that impact on it.
Let the inspectors work.
That certainly Iraq is no threat. That it doesn't even have near the armaments of any of its neighbors, particularly Israel. And that the inspections, I think, have pretty well held that to be the case. That, you know, there's just no justification for this, other than the fact that Bush and the people around him are essentially pursuing global hegemony, and this is their starting point. And once they have Iraq, it's a very important strategic location for them. And I don't think that oil is the only reason that they're going in there. I think there's been a long-standing plan to reconfigure the Middle East. This is something that's been worked out with Israel and the United States, and this is the first step. People around Bush, particularly Pearl, Wolfowitz, they've been proposing this for a long time, at least for a decade. And so I think this is the beginning of their efforts to bring their proposals to fruition. I think there's a lot of problems with the Bush administration, not only in their foreign policy, but their domestic policy, their attacks on civil rights, their attacks on labor, their attacks on the environment. I mean, this is a problem that I think we're going to have to deal with for a long time. And so, at its inception, we might as well start to speak up and oppose it to the best of our ability.
Because I think this is all about corporate oil. It's a non-renewable resource. We got to save our planet. It's about women and other people and children all over the world. Because I've always believed in peaceful resolutions to things, because I have no faith in our federal government, that our brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and mothers and grandmothers. It's about us. We're all one. And fighting wars is not the way to do it.
Let the inspections work.
So the idea of a preemptive strike, I think it sets a very bad precedent for the whole world.
I think it's desperately important to try to put our country back on the road to peace. This war we're contemplating entering into is going to ruin our country's reputation and destroy lives all over the world. It's just not the way to go.
Peace is the way.
I'm basically just trying to get the message out that we do not want a war to happen. I have a younger brother, and he is completely distraught by this everything. And you know, it's breaking up families. Everyone's so worried about it. Everyone thinks that, you know, the economy is going to go completely, like, going to be horrible. Families are going to be broken up. There'll be no jobs. If people like get drafted, even, we don't want to see them go to war. We don't want to see them getting dying because, you know, the president wants to have a war.
I'm here to bring our troops home and say that war will not solve anything, and it hasn't in the past and will never will. And I think it's wrong that we're sending our troops over there.
There's so many young people in the Army, and they're going there just to die, basically, for a needless war. Needless. And I have friends that are over there, and I don't want them to die for absolutely nothing. I mean, we're repeating history. We should have learned. I don't realize how many people will die. So, and that's not even Americans, like people in Iraq, children and women. It's pointless.
More war. No more war.
I think if we go in there and bomb, we're only going to alienate ourselves more and kind of further the anti-American sentiment.
Bring the troops home!
The Bush administration's foreign policy is really based on a greed for resources, mainly oil, and for control in the Middle East. And it's really more empire building than it is to liberate the people of Iraq, because to do that we should really do it through peaceful means. And I feel that the inspection should be given much more of a chance, and that war should really always be a very last resort. And it makes absolutely no sense to use war to liberate people when in fact you will be causing much more misery and death and destruction in a country that's already been through so much over the years. It just makes no sense at all to me to go to war. It's total hypocrisy.
Give peace a chance. Give